Good morning, everybody. Welcome to LockPod, Midwest Most Dangerous Podcast. This is Season 13, Episode 9, coming to you live from the NECA IBEW Power in Indiana Lake County Studios. Smith Sursick Law Firm.
Episode 9.
Y sí, muy bien.
Good morning.
Nueve. I messed up
Got a
Spanish.
great show.
I messed up Spanish on the last show.
Yeah, we even called you out on it.
I know. You were right the whole time.
Well, I didn't know what it was, but it was.
No, you were just like analyzing what I was saying. And
Yeah.
you were like, no. That's
And then
like,
Marissa corrected you.
yeah, which is usually how it goes down. What's up, Linz?
Howdy.
Morning.
You're
Miss
that's
Quiet.
subdued.
I know.
I'm allergic to everything outside right now.
Oh,
Really?
no.
So
I didn't know allergies were around in the fall. Like things in the...
my allergies that I inherited from my parents is year-round constant. So
Damn.
that's why I get those allergy shots every week. But
Yeah.
they haven't gone on long enough for them to do much.
So you're suffering.
I'm suffering quietly back here.
Quiet suffering.
Has nothing to do with the 14 cats in our house. But
I have 2 cats in my house. Thank you very much. And no,
Single
the
cat
allergy started.
she's not
Married
single,
cat
though.
lady.
Married cat lady.
Yeah, thank you.
That's right.
This
Sorry.
is all one big tease for like the show coming up because we have a big show.
Yeah. A
Man,
great show.
I dressed
Like,
up.
is this really happening?
I didn't wear my Grateful Dead shirt.
I was
today.
thinking
I
about
did
that. I was
not
like,
dress
what is
up
Tom
today.
going to dress up in? And he kind of half dressed
I
up,
didn't
right? He's
do-
got shorts, but a shirt.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to have a dead shirt.
He's business
Yeah.
from the waist up.
Yeah,
there you go.
but I'm here to
Wow.
party.
Business from the
also.
waist
There's
up.
the show.
I
There
like
you go.
it. Business from the waist
He's
up.
business from the
John,
waist
there it
up.
Look at
is.
Lynn's.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Now she's gonna like.
We don't know what he is from
She's
the
gonna
waist
pipe
down,
down,
but waist
pipe
up.
down the rest of the show.
She's done her job.
She's like, I made the show. No.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Um,
You're welcome. My contribution has been complete.
You're welcome.
Today we have County Councilman and nominee for the 1st Congressional District, Randy Niemeyer, on the show. That should
Excited.
be. He's running against Frank Mervan in November, and what is expected to be a lively, expensive November election day.
Yeah, I mean, we're only 4 weeks out, and I mean, truthfully, I thought I'd see more liveliness, but I mean, on both. I mean, you know, just like in general, but maybe it just hasn't hit yet.
Well, I
Usually
mean,
in my mind, I always
that's
think like
something-
Labor Day.
Well,
you
like
know?
I'll be honest with you. I think Frank is got his stuff out there. I've seen Frank's commercials. I've seen Frank's signs.
Yeah.
I don't think Frank is ignoring the race. I mean, it might be a budget thing, but that's stuff that we could ask Randy
Yeah,
when he
for
comes
sure.
in. So
For sure.
Randy Niemeyer is going to be here in the 3rd segment. We're looking forward to that. In the first 2 segments, we're here to keep you entertained until that happens.
Yeah,
Morning,
we're-
John. This is your guest, by the way. We brought him in just to make John happy.
Thank you.
Did it
And-
work?
Are you happy?
Yeah. Well, we'll see some of his answers to these questions. They're very good questions. But by the way, be honest.
Yeah.
How much flack have you guys gotten behind the scenes for having
None
Randy
for
on?
me.
Well,
Kevin
Really?
Tom. No.
Wow.
They're all going.
It all
after
goes to
Kevin.
me.
Yeah.
People are afraid to text Tom, so they'll just text me.
Oh.
Did you get it?
It's a little bit.
Really?
A little
Well,
bit.
What's the?
And it's just like, you know, kind of like reasoning, why are you having Randy on? And I'm just like, listen.
This
you
is
know,
a show.
Well, yeah. And I said, listen, Tom
This
thinks
is
it's
what you
good-
do
Tom-
on shows.
Tom thinks it's going to be good podcasting, which I agree with. And we talked about it last show. The invitation's been open to Frank forever. We hope he does come on and talk. I mean, and Randy's been asking to come on.
I don't know
and-
why he won't accept. I mean, other than he probably doesn't like me.
Well, I
So-
mean, from a political strategy standpoint, maybe he's like, you know what? I don't. It's like,
Does
it's
he
like when-
think, like, does Frank think he's going to come on here and we're going to try to blow him up and make him
No,
look bad? I know.
no,
We're not going to do that to Randy.
No.
We're going to bring Randy in. We're going to talk to him
Fair
about the
questions
issues.
and,
Yes.
you know.
So, like, maybe Mervan thinks that I have this hidden agenda where he's going to come in here and I'm going to try to embarrass him.
No, if anything, I think you guys are getting along better now than you have.
I thought
in a
so
while.
until
No, I
he
think
blew
so.
off repeated attempts to come on Lockpod.
Well,
Jesus,
I mean, it
chill
could be
out,
a
man.
strategy thing.
What are you talking about?
Calm down.
See, now I'm supposed
No,
to be
I'm-
professional today.
No, I'm just pointing out.
I don't
Like,
think
John-
he hates you. I think he just doesn't think it's going to help him.
I mean, it
much.
could-
okay, okay. Well, Randy thinks it's going to help him. And Randy's a Republican.
and he probably needs the help.
But like
so.
Randy probably has
Bingo.
more paranoid that we're going to embarrass him, but he's still coming on the show.
No, Randy wants to get the median vote. That's what he's here for.
Okay.
I don't think.
I
don't
look back
think
to-
he,
But wait, you don't think he has irrational fear that we're going to try to make him look bad
No,
today?
I don't
You
think
don't?
so.
based
I would
on
have
the
that fear.
questions? No,
But
I
like
don't
we're
think
not
so.
going to. But like, okay. So then that goes back to the question: then why isn't? So
Well,
if you're saying Lindsay, Frank doesn't feel like he needs the help, right?
No, I don't think so. All I've been seeing are Frank signs.
No, what
That's-
I'm saying, the question is why isn't Frank
I
coming
don't
on
think it's
Lockpod?
necessary.
So he's like,
I
I
don't,
don't
think
need to
it'll
come on
help him. I don't
Lockpod.
think it'll hurt him.
It
So-
reminds me of like when we were just like bitching constantly in 2022 about Todd Young. Like, why won't he debate again? Why won't
Right.
he do this? Why
Right.
won't he do that? Why won't he come in? You know, it's like, and the reason we kept hearing was like, oh, well, he thinks he's got it in the bag and blah, blah, blah. So he doesn't need to.
He did.
Well, but I mean, at the time we didn't think that. We thought
so you think
it was a lot closer.
So, and if I'm reading you guys right, you guys think that the reason Frank won't come on the show and Randy Niemeyer will is because Frank thinks he's got it in the bag and there's nothing to be gained by coming on Lockpod.
I think he thinks that, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying that.
No,
I
I'm just
don't
asking.
know what it is.
I'm wondering.
I don't
It
know if
could
it's
be
in
totally
the bag,
innocent,
but
too.
It could be.
It could just be
scheduling. Could be
I
I
anything.
mean, he
Forgot,
spends half of his
you
year
know.
at D.C., so it's not like he's here.
He does
100%
a lot
of the
of
time.
media appearances, guys. It's not like this is unusual for him to get a media request.
Well, and I did
Well,
last
I
time
mean-
last time we talked to him.
Maybe
Both
we're
you and
some-
I both offered up Skype, so that's available. So you can come
Maybe
in
he
from
thinks
DC.
we're just some bullshit little show.
I don't
that-
think so.
No, I'm
Why are you taking this personally?
because I've asked him like 5 times, Lindsay.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I've
you
asked him
guys,
like 5 times to
your
come on the
race
show,
wasn't
and he's like, "Yeah, I'll
exactly,
get right back to you." I do that all the time. People are like, "Hey, Mayor, can you do this for me?" I'm like, "Yeah, let me get right back to you." I know what that fucking means. It
Yeah,
means
okay.
fuck off.
And why do you do it?
Why do I do what? The show?
Why do you tell people I'll get back to you and then you don't?
Because I don't want to do it.
Okay, maybe
Yeah.
he just doesn't want to
Maybe
do
you'll
it.
hear from
Simple
him
as
after
that.
this.
Right?
I mean, your guys' election wasn't exactly all puppies and rainbows.
Yeah, but I think they've really come a long way since then. It seems to me, at least.
Well, they're just polite in public. I don't
That
think
could be.
they've talked. You guys hang out? No?
Me and Frank? No,
Exactly.
not at all.
So, like, why?
Not at all. So, okay, so Lindsay's of the opinion he doesn't like me,
I don't.
and
think she said
you're of
that.
the opinion that he thinks that he's so big that he doesn't need to do it.
No, that's
Okay.
not what I said.
I'm over here scratching my head because I
I'm
think
providing different reasons.
Listen, I'm a politician also. I've been a politician for 21 years. I think any publicity is good publicity. Unless they're like trying to fuck you. And like if he thinks that's what we're trying to do, then he's badly mistaken.
It might also be the vulgarity.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. So.
I'm just throwing out ideas.
I just want to make sure I understand the
So,
tone,
like,
the
we have
tone
to
for
change-
today's
so-
interview.
so
Like,
if we
can I
have-
take
if we
the
have-
tone.
So
Can-
like, you know, yeah, I don't know.
We might be surprised. We might hear from Frank. He might come on before the election. I could see that happening.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the offer's out there. For those of you that are giving Kevin grief, the offer's been out there multiple times. So what we
And that's
did
what I
today,
said to people.
And by the way, Randy Niemeyer has been bugging me, like blowing me up, like, "Hey, when can I come on your show?" And his campaign manager's like, "Hey, when can I come on your show?" It's like one guy wants to do it badly, one guy's blowing us off.
And why
So,
does he want to do it so badly? It's probably because he needs it.
well, I mean, nonetheless, he's
That's
coming on the
pretty-
show.
I think it's going to be an interesting. I mean, I'm just excited that he's coming in the sense of like, look, I mean, I think we all tend to go in our political silos, and so I think it's going to be interesting to ask questions that I think are at least interesting to me about issues that I want to hear a different perspective of. You know, like let me hear what you think about this or that, right? Because I mean, I know how my algorithm feeds me, you know, on TikTok or Facebook or X, and so let me hear what you got to say.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
the echo chamber stuff could get boring, you know?
Yeah.
I know what my feed gives me, too, and it's like,
Taylor Swift and
Right.
the floods
dancing women.
and
Oh,
the
the
On
floods.
Tom's
floods,
TikTok.
man.
And the
Oh,
floods.
we're going to talk about that second segment.
Terrible.
That's a great
Holy
issue.
Toledo.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Well,
Hey,
let's
by
get
the way,
some stuff done before we get to the phase 3.
Before I came to the studio today, I saw in the Post
Oh,
Tribune,
this is great.
Mayor Tiffany gets evicted from her house.
What?
She's in the process of getting evicted from her home. I took a picture of it and put it in there, and it
Is
looks
it
like,
an apartment or something?
yeah, she's
a
renting.
home.
Which is,
Where is
she's
it? I don't
renting
have it.
So,
a home.
from what I
which
can
is,
tell-
by the way, you're a fucking mayor making $300,000 a year, and she rents her home.
So interesting, right? So the lease is with a person
Who works for her.
a guy named Woods is his last name, Kamal Woods. I don't know
And
if
he
they live
works for
together
her.
or if she helped him with the lease because she has another property that allegedly she lives at on another block. So, and that she pays property taxes on that she owns. So this might have been like, I'm helping you out, or maybe they do live there together. I don't know. But the interesting thing is that the guy that is on the lease with her on this property, his nonprofit has also been subpoenaed by the grand jury.
Oh, no way.
So it's really interesting about some grant money and because the grant money, the address goes to a car wash in Dolton instead of a company. So it's
Mayor
all
Tiff.
real interesting. Mayor Tiff in the news.
I'm very proud of Lockpod for, despite being a bullshit show, we were one of the first. We were one of the first to cover Mayor Tiffany.
And
Nobody knew who the fuck Mayor Tiffany
too
was.
much
when we
fanfare,
started.
by the way. Like a lot of
Yeah.
Lockpotters were like, "When's the next Mayor Tiff update coming?"
Right. And now it's like you open up your newspaper and she's in there. You watch your Chicago news and she's on there. I mean, honestly, Lockpod was the one that broke this story.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
we
at
were one of
least
the
on
first.
podcasting,
we were
I
one
mean,
of the first out there.
There was that guy on Fox 32.
Yes, you're right. You're
'Cause
right.
You love that
Fox
guy. You're
32
like,
News,
there he
yeah.
is again.
Yep, Dean Placco.
There, Very
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
damn.
Dean Placco is like he was on it. Yeah, Dean Placco had her before we did. So,
But we like to follow Dean Placco on the podcasting
Right.
side. So Mayor Tiff updates, we'll keep them coming as they hit the news.
I think Mayor Tiff is in trouble.
Seems
I'm
like
just going to
it.
go out on a limb and say she's in trouble. There's subpoenas going everywhere. There's grand juries.
Yeah.
And now she's being evicted from her rented home.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, man.
It's all very interesting.
That's not very mayoral.
224 from Thornton Township, and $224,000 a year from Thornton Township, and $46,000 from Dolton.
I would just pay the stupid $3,350 she owes to her fake landlord just to get herself out of the news, right? If you're making
would think.
$300,000 a year, just pay the $3,000, countersue him, try to get
Yeah.
it back quietly.
And it's a month to month. Like,
Get
say,
your
hey,
name
here's
out
our-
of the freaking newspaper,
Exactly.
right? You're getting lit up
You
over
look like a
misrent
bum
pay.
now.
You look like a bum, Mayor Tiffany.
Yeah.
A bum, a
Come on,
well-dressed
Mayor-
bum.
Come on, Mayor Tiff.
A
A very
well-dressed
well-dressed
bum.
with a
bum.
gold microphone.
Yes.
Yes, a
And a
well-dressed
DJ.
bum and a DJ.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway,
right,
Mayor
Mayor
Tiff's
Tiff.
got problems.
Mhm.
We got a new segment on Lockpod coming up called Kevin's Middle Finger.
Yeah.
I mean,
That
this-
Lindsay woke up when I said that. I
I-
saw her head pop up.
I like it when Kevin shows feelings.
Like he's normally a.
He's normally a
unfeeling.
robot.
Oh man, Linz.
He's very smart and he's very stoic.
This
This has been the season of Lindsay on Kevin.
It has.
Hasn't it?
Remember last week? She
Yeah.
was on you about the way
Yes.
you read that one ad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a good
well,
one.
that
Yeah.
was just.
I heard a lot. I heard a
Then
lot
the
of
next
shit
show,
for that.
Next show, Kevin was still salty about that. Lindsay,
He was.
He's like, he read it on purpose, and he's like, "There, take that."
I was like,
Oh,
here's a
I
bad
didn't hear
read
it.
coming up.
And
Yeah.
now Kevin's just a robot.
That's
most of
right.
the time.
Just a fucking
Stoic.
stoic robot.
I said I like it when Kevin has feelings.
Thank
What
you,
are your
Linz.
feelings, Kevin? What's your middle
So
finger
my
all
middle.
about?
So I brought this up to Tom. He's like, you got to bring this up on Lockpod.
Yeah, Kevin's middle finger.
So and by the way, this is a disclaimer. I may be just not smart enough to figure this out, and that times.
no, Kevin, you're right on this.
Okay, so here's
This
what's
is
hap-
about the times, okay? So
I am
Mark
a-
Chase and all of our friends of the world.
Yes.
This is friendly advice on how to make your newspaper more effective.
or to help like old guys like me figure
Kevin
it out.
and I get the printed paper.
I love the
It
printed
costs
paper.
$800 a year to get the fucking printed paper.
More than that.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah,
80 bucks a
it's-
month.
I had to stop paying. It was
It's
expensive.
$1,000 a year, okay?
And
Yeah.
it wasn't
Wow.
very useful for
So,
me.
like, the printed paper on the driveway is something that's important to old fucks like us, right?
Right.
And, like, we've become accustomed to things over the goddamn 55 years I've been getting a newspaper. I've become accustomed to things, and Kevin pointed something out the other day.
Yeah, and by the way, we have a big history of the Times. Tom used to work in the newsroom with his dad.
Yes.
I delivered
Delivered
the
it.
Times paper for 5 years when I was like 13 to 16 or something.
we know
3
we
years.
got newsprint in
I am
our
a
skin.
Yeah, I am a fan of of local
printed
media.
paper.
Yeah, and the printed paper.
I like the
So
way it smells.
I like opening up my paper and reading it, right? So I still do that. $80 a month for the paper copy.
So that's our disclaimer.
Right.
Before we start ripping on your ass, we just
Right.
want to point out we're customers.
Customers and fans.
And
Right,
fans.
yes.
Like, I'm going to be 95 years old reading my freaking newspaper.
if it still is printed, right?
Right.
Yeah. So all right. So I get to the Commander restaurant. I'm getting ready for the
Passed
Notre
away,
Dame.
by the
You
way.
are
The-
old, dude.
The owner
Get to
passed
the
away, by the way.
Yes, he
Kevin.
did. But
She.
the son.
I thought it was she.
Gus passed away. Well, they both did actually,
She just
mom and
passed
dad,
away.
and
Mom
then
just passed away.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
I heard it.
know the
Yeah, I
dad did
heard
last
that.
year.
Yeah,
So
the
the
mom
son
passed away.
son runs it.
Right.
So anyway, meeting there, getting ready for the Notre Dame game, Notre Dame Louisville game. I'm meeting a buddy of mine there, and he is a Bishop Noel alumni. He's like, hey, I wonder what Bishop Noel did last night. I said, no problem. I got the Hammond Times, or I have the
Saturday
Northwest Indiana
paper.
Times Saturday paper. Let's
You
open
can call it
up.
the Hammond Times for nostalgic
I do.
reasons.
That's the paper I delivered.
That just
So-
proves that they're OGs, guys.
There you go. And I open the sports page up. There it is, right on the cover. Friday Night Lights. Photo of the Chesterton
All right, here it is.
Portage game. Everyone's excited. I'm like, okay, let's look for the results. I go to the next page. All it has is the prep games with like
No.
Bishop Noel versus somebody 7 p.m. I'm like, oh.
It's
well, okay.
Saturday, but it's Saturday.
It's Saturday. I'm like, maybe
it was
it's a
last
late
night
game.
at 7 a.m.
Yeah, sure.
7
I was
p.m.,
like,
right?
and none of the games are in there with scores, just the times,
Right.
which is weird.
Which was yesterday, the day before.
But usually they used to put the prep games
Saturday?
on Saturday.
Well,
Saturday
no, I'm
you would
saying is
wake
that
up
They're
and the-
giving you the dates and times for the day before.
Correct.
So it's
Right.
Useless.
But like
information.
you used to be able to wake up on Saturday and see the scores and see the pictures and like a summary of the game
right.
and like little paragraphs about each game.
Here's the Bishop Noel.
Because
Here's
like,
what
let's
Lake
be
Central
honest,
did.
where we live in the country, it's not like this everywhere. Because in California, it wasn't like this. Okay, high school football is a big damn deal where we live.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody loves it. People watch it. People go to the games. And when you wake up on Saturday morning, most high school football fans, and there's plenty, want to see what the damn score is.
I'd like to see the results, right?
Right? On Saturday morning. It's
And I
freaking
guess in
12
my mind,
hours
I
after the
expect
event.
it's going to be in there, right?
You should be in there.
And I said, okay, you know what? Oh, wait, look at this caption. No worries. It says
QR code.
there's a QR code for
Right.
results.
Okay, so that's
nice.
you have to bust out modern technology
Which I
to do it.
did,
Okay,
right?
you did
Busted it
So
out.
of course it's updated.
I click on it. It goes right to you need a subscription.
You have a subscription.
I have an $80, much more than the
you have
digital
a
subscription.
$800 description.
And maybe I'm supposed to have a digital subscription as part of my paper subscription. I don't
Wait,
know.
what?
I click on it. It won't even let me see the results.
Listen,
it goes
dude,
to
well,
you
I
need to
clicked
pay.
on it. Well, I clicked on it.
Okay.
On Saturday morning.
Yes.
And they still weren't updated.
Wow.
So,
you
like-
even got to your digital subscription.
I do have a digital subscription also.
Damn.
And it still wasn't updated like the next day.
It did say that in the Sunday edition you can get
Yes,
the
in the
results.
Sunday edition it was updated a day and a half later.
Man, I was just like, this
Like
is a bummer.
You can't get on Saturday morning the Times couldn't get the damn scores in the paper on Saturday morning.
Maybe they don't
Saturday
have
morning.
Maybe they don't have a local sports
That's
reporter anymore.
bullshit, man. I'm paying $1,000 a year. You're paying $1,000
Yeah,
a year.
yeah.
Like you can't get the freaking high school football
I was-
scores in there for a day and a half.
I
No
was
wonder
bummed
people
out.
don't. Yeah, no wonder people are like turning like a day and a half. Like you know what a natural person would do in a situation like this to Times. You'd bust out your damn phone and just type it in, and you'll find out the score. And I'll be like, why do I even go to the Times?
Yeah, that's a good
I'll
point. I
just
didn't
go
think about
straight
that.
to Bishop Knoll's website, and they're going to tell me what the score
Yeah,
is, and they're
or
going to tell me all the
IHSAA,
details
yeah.
that you're failing to tell me. I have to wait until Sunday?
Or
It's ridiculous.
I would also think that if this QR code is in the print edition, it should work because that means you've bought the paper.
Yes.
Like make it a QR code that works for people because this could have been bought at like the gas station.
Right.
You know, and like for $3 or something.
So your paper subscription does not include digital subscription.
It
this
may,
correct?
John.
It does,
I don't
it
know.
does.
If
He
it does,
doesn't-
I
you have
didn't
to
know
like
how to
go
do
through
it.
a process
Because
and
he's
give
an
him your
old
email.
fogey and
Yeah.
he doesn't know
But you
how
have
to
to
use
give them your
phones.
email address.
And
You have
that's
to go
on me,
through-
I guess.
No, but like it's a pain in the ass. Like, why do you want to do that? You got a print version.
Yeah.
Why do I want to give you my email address and get spam email from you and have to remember another password, or I'll just read the damn paper.
Yeah. Or at least the suggestion would be that make the QR code work in the print version for those that have bought the print
All right.
version.
So the Times is listening
All right,
to us
yes,
right
yes.
now. I
Well-
didn't cuss one time during that. I'm
Just
wearing a
a-
nice shirt.
just
so
a
if you guys are
suggestion.
gonna if you guys are gonna screenshot this, like do it now. Okay, hold it. Okay, thank you.
It's
Thank
not.
you.
It's just a suggestion, not really my middle finger. So,
All right.
right.
That's a
I
good,
love
that
how
was a good
your
clip.
tempering it.
print subscription pushes you to the digital.
Right.
They're
It didn't
trying
work
to
for
break
me.
us. They're trying to break us.
Ugh.
They're trying to break
They
us.
won't break me. I want my paper.
But by the way, man, we had a good football weekend though.
Yeah.
Kevin and I don't get 2-0 weekends very often, where Notre Dame and the Bears both win on the same weekend. This was a rare occasion. Notre Dame beats number 15 Louisville Cardinals,
Great game.
and the Bears beat, God, who did they play?
The Bears beat the Rams.
Rams, thank you. And two good games. Like, I felt, after walking away from both of them, I felt like a happy person. And I'm generally happier this week.
We've both kind of complained about both Riley Leonard and Caleb Williams, the quarterbacks for Notre Dame and the Bears. They both, in my opinion, had good games.
Yeah. It
I was happy. Do you
like
want
good
to
weekend.
like give a tease for next week at all?
Yes. We have-
Speaking of Notre Dame,
Oh yeah, we have a great guest coming up next Friday. So, and this is like, it's a good, if you're a football fan, especially a Notre Dame fan, you'll want to listen. But this is interesting if you're just a parent, if you just want to hear a good story. There's a gentleman that plays for Notre Dame. He's a middle linebacker for Notre Dame. His name is Drake Bowen. Okay.
number 34.
He's a young man that went to Andrean High School, which is close to where we live. Andrean's a big Catholic football school, big Catholic school. It's a great school. Kevin's kids went there. He went to Andrean and was scouted by Notre Dame and accepted a scholarship offer at Notre Dame. Now plays middle linebacker, like I said. His father is named Jeremy, and I ran into each other at a tailgate a couple weeks ago, and I talked to the guy for 3 minutes, and I was captivated because he has stories that are like stories you can't read in the newspaper. And I was like, this guy would be amazing on Lockpod. And I didn't even hardly know him, but I knew people that knew him. So after he left the tailgate, I was like, do you think he'd ever want to come on our show? And they were like, I think he would. He loves talking, and he loves talking about
He
football.
loves talking.
Yeah.
Right? And he loves talking about football. And I'm like, dude, I would totally love to have him
Really
on Lockpod.
excited about that.
So we reached out, lined him up. He's coming on next Friday for Lockpod, the day before Notre Dame plays Stanford. So
definitely tune in for that. It's going to be a good show.
it's that'll be a good show if you're just interested in how a kid becomes
Yeah. I
you
think
know,
the story
basically
about
recruited by
or
Notre
just
Dame.
growing up, how you become a 12-year-old pony league football player to
Like, when did they know?
you're on the right. I'm gonna.
He's
ask him
gonna
stuff like
end
that.
up, barring major injury or tragedy. He'll probably most likely play in the NFL.
Yeah.
So
the way his trajectory is
like
going,
I would
for
like
sure.
to know, like, when did you know?
Yeah.
When did you know your
Right.
kid was special? Right.
Yep.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
So
So tune in next Friday. It's
that's gonna be a good show. So by the way, we're like cranking out good guests. We got Randy Niemeyer today.
Yes.
We got Jeremy Bowen next week. I mean, for what you pay for Lockpod, you're definitely getting your money's
Getting
worth.
your money's worth, no matter what platform you're listening on.
Yeah.
Last Friday we all kind of showed up at the United Center. We didn't sit together,
Not me.
but not Lynn's.
No. You
But,
missed a really good show though. Do you like
I
Lindsay,
went and saw Cord instead.
Yeah, she did.
What?
That's a solid show too.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Completely sold out Tinley Park, by the way.
Second time I've seen
Which
that
is
happen
surprising, man. That's a venue that could hold probably almost
A
40,000
ton.
people.
Yeah,
A ton
it
of
was
people.
It's
pretty
huge.
Well, if you
packed.
count the lawn,
Yeah, if you count the
Yeah.
lawn.
Whoa.
Big, John. That's a big ass venue.
I wonder what it does.
Because like I compare it to, it's twice as big as ours. Easily twice.
Oh
as
yeah,
big.
yeah.
Yeah. And so like Lindsay said she went to see Corin. I was like, okay. I was wondering, I wonder if I can get this band because that'd be a great band for the fest. And I said, how'd they do, Lynn? She's like, completely sold out. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. She was
Wow.
right.
He asked me, "Do you think I could get them for the fest?" And I was like, "No,
No.
definitely not."
Definitely
Yeah,
not.
they're selling out
Definitely
Tinley.
not.
They're
If
not
they're
doing
selling out
festivals
Tinley.
yet.
They're
Too
not playing our
expensive.
fest. Maybe
So-
in 15 years when
Maybe.
they're in Walkers.
Maybe like 10 years ago you could have, but
Yeah.
now they're doing their 30-year
Lynn,
anniversary tour.
That's
and
interesting. We got Limp Bizkit when they were more minor. Like
Yeah.
we couldn't get Limp Bizkit right now,
You
but we
gotta-
got them
yeah.
like 5-6 years
We got them in
ago.
the in between.
We did, man.
It
And
was
now
like the
they're huge
in-between,
again.
right?
And they played us.
And that happens
twice.
too with Fest.
I know. They
Like-
played us twice.
They're big. They kind of go down a little bit. We get them, then they
and
go
then
back
they
up.
go on their
Yeah.
legendary tour.
I don't
Right.
think we're going to get Jeff Lynne and ELO though,
Yeah,
because
man.
this was the
They
final
were
tour.
so amazing. by
And
the
here
way.
is a great photo.
This
kind
is
of-
an awesome photo, Kevin.
Yeah, this was just kind of the spaceship, of course, that's famous, ELO's famous spaceship. It was just a phenomenal show.
Whose seats were those? Those were yours, Kev?
I took that photo, yeah.
Damn, man, you had good seats.
Wow.
Yeah, middle, about
shit.
20 rows back. So it was
Very
really
Marissa and I
good.
were chilling and on the side.
You could have gotten the floor. It was no.
Oh, I could
they were
have. I don't like
available.
the floor. I get the ADD thing kicking down there.
You know what? These floor seats were actually real good. They were seats a little
They
tight,
look
but
good.
overall good.
Yeah.
So, and this is just a clip I took. They
this
sound,
was
they
like
sound so tight.
And not only that, like it was like a little psychedelic, right? It was
Yeah.
a little trippy. Like
Yeah, it was.
if you were in an altered state, you were probably having trouble.
If
coping.
you are a child of the 70s and 80s,
yeah, you
will
were
know
probably
this
like
song.
you're probably just holding on just barely during some of those songs.
Just
So
a short little clip.
So good.
So it's just
Ridiculous.
so tight. I mean, like you think about it, they have a singer. She was unbelievable, opera type singer.
they had two like backups.
Yeah, they
singer.
had a guy kind of hitting the high notes for Jeff Lynne, two cello players, violin.
There's
two
12 people on
keyboards.
stage.
It was
two keyboards,
unbelievable.
4 guitars.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, 1 bass and 3 guitars. Yeah, 12 people on stage. Like
and it sounds just
Dude.
phenomenal.
Like I kept saying to myself, why is this their last tour? It doesn't make any damn sense to me.
I
They
will
were
say
so
Jeff
good.
Jeff Lynne did seem a little bit kind of like having like they had to help him get his guitar on and off, stuff like that.
I don't know,
but
man. I'm like that anyway. I play it up. I'm like, I can't pick up that garbage, and Lindsay picks it up for me.
John, you've seen him probably 5-6 times, or at
Yeah.
least half dozen times. What was your thought about this show? And
It was amazing. Jeff Lynne is in my top 5. Like that. That's how much I love this guy.
What is that like for sex?
just on the top 5.
Don't you have like a top 5 list with Amy?
With guys for sex?
Yeah.
Need, like,
No.
a hall pass now?
No, Tom.
No, I do
Marissa
not.
and I
is the
have a
answer
list.
This
to
is
that.
a wholesome
Marissa
show
and I
today,
have our
remember?
list. All right.
This is why Frank Mervan won't come on, by the way.
Yeah, John and Amy have a hall pass list between them, and all Johns is men.
It's Jeff Lynne.
Including
He's
Jeff
like,
Lynne.
it's Jeff Lynne, Lindsay.
I don't know where this went, John.
I know. It was an amazing show. Last time I saw him was probably 5 years ago, and I agree with Kevin. I could tell a difference in. He
Really?
seems a little bit more frail.
You said something at the end of the show when I was already walking out. You said that he looked a little like unsteady on his feet.
Yeah, when he did the his band did like the bow.
Yeah.
He was kind of shuffling a little bit.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I know that shuffle. My dad shuffles.
I think that's part of the reason that he did. You know what I mean? That I think that might be the final tour. But
maybe
he
they'll
was
pull
great.
like a Dead thing and like the Sphere or offer him a residency. Because
Okay.
honestly, if they did a residency in Vegas, I would definitely fly my ass out there to see them.
I think we'd
They were
going.
so good. If you ever have a chance to see ELO in concert, if they do a residency, fly your ass over there wherever they are.
And the
watch
tour's
them.
not over. Go find them.
Oh
if
my
they're,
god!
If they're
yeah, they
available.
only have a few shows left, but
Yeah.
it was spectacular.
The Sphere would be great with
like
them.
a straight A, like a straight clean,
Without
A.
a doubt.
clean, straight
And like
A.
songs that I kind of forgot about, but still knew the words. Right? Like you're probably like 90% singing the
Every
words.
song.
Right? Yeah.
Although there was a couple. Yeah, they were
couple.
like rock area. Like okay,
Yeah,
whatever,
that
you
wasn't
know?
one-
I think the couple songs they put on
aria.
albums just so they could play them in concert. You could sort of tell like they're just good concert jams,
For sure.
but they're not that great of songs. But
But
they're
like
good for
Showdown,
in
they
concert.
played. I forgot all about Showdown. A Last Train to London. Like totally forgot. There was some great disco in there. Like I wasn't a huge disco fan, but there was some really good disco songs
man.
in that show.
Yeah, they were. So that's what I like. That's what I really like about ELO is they were right in that phase of like they were coming out of the '60s, going into disco, but they weren't quite disco. They were still rock, kind of pop. What's going on here? What are we listening to?
Tom's playing something in his microphone.
Oh my gosh.
There we go. Before we got to go to ads.
Oh, we're gonna get flagged by Facebook.
This is great. Great song.
Bum, 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 bum.
Sounds sweet talk. God, what a great song.
I mean, it was unbelievable, dude.
All right, let's do some ads. Come back. We got to talk about the North Carolina floods, climate migration. Then we need to get Randy Niemeyer in the studio.
We'll be back about 8:15 with Randy Niemeyer. We're going to talk some floods and climate migration when we come back. Let's go ahead and do some ads. Start off with our studio sponsor, Powering Indiana Lake County. That's our premier studio sponsor. Powering Indiana Lake County is your source for the region's most trusted electricians. Are you thinking of finishing your basement, installing outdoor security cameras, or does your business have plans to break ground on a new project? Don't leave important projects in the wrong hands. With IBEW Local 697 electricians, you're choosing the highest level of safety and reliability. Visit poweringindiana.org today to ensure your project's in the hands of skilled professionals who deliver on time and on budget. Find your electrical contractor at poweringindiana.org.
Ooh, slow down. Okay.
Just trying to get through.
Cantrell attorneys at law. Are you injured or in trouble with the law? Give Cantrell a call and schedule your consultation with someone who is in court and at the jail every day. Call John Cantrell at 219-554-4LAW or visit their website at bettercallcantrell.com. John and his wife Kristen make a great team and are waiting to hear from you.
Michelob Ultra is a superior light beer brewed for those who understand that it's only worth it if you enjoy it. Containing only 95 calories and 2.6 carbs, Michelob Ultra is a light lager brewed with the perfect balance of hops and wholesome grains, producing a crisp, refreshing finish. With Michelob Ultra, there's no better time to crack open a cold one. Head over to Cal Brew or Michelob Ultra social media for info on this great family of beers. Enjoy the Michelob Ultra lifestyle with beers and cheers responsibly.
Tortillas Nuevo Leon is the gold standard in Mexican cuisine across the Midwest. Look for Tortillas Nuevo Leon's popular red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise.
Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón.
Sorry, guys, I'm too tired to dance.
We wanted to see that. To see your allergic dancing.
Oh, yes. For decades, Ron J. Prestmer Insurance Agency has been located for decades right on Indianapolis Boulevard, serving all your insurance needs. The Prestmer Insurance Agency specializes in a wide range of insurance products and services, including auto, home, business, life, and much more. The Prestmer Agency serves thousands of people and businesses throughout the Chicagoland and Midwest. Call Ron or Ronnie today at 219-844-0103. They're here to protect what matters most to you.
The branding room floor. Don't let your business get lost in the shuffle of generic branding and aimless marketing. Trust Northwest Indiana's award-winning full-service marketing agency, the Branding Room Floor. Providing data-driven results to help your business grow in a crowded market is their specialty. From website development and digital advertising to graphic design and branding, the Branding Room Floor will set your business or organization on a clear path to strategic success. Don't wait another day to get started. Visit thebrandingroomfloor.com today.
Surrounded by amateurs.
I was too tired to dance too, Linz.
All right, let's go ahead and we did a show a couple seasons ago about climate migration. We busted out our notes because when something like what happened over the weekend happens, it makes us go back to our original thesis, which is basically people that are living in areas of the country like the Southwest is what we focused on out west with the fires, and the Southwest with the lack of water. We were talking about how 50 years from now, if you look at a map of America or the Electoral College, I think you're going to see a big change, and you're going to see places like Indiana, Illinois, places in the Midwest, Minnesota, Wisconsin are going to start getting a lot more people that are living in the areas of the country I think are going to become uninhabitable because of climate.
Yeah, I think, this is something actually my law partner Steve Sursick sent this article along. He's like, remember when Mayor Tom called this? It's happening now. And I think that's the interesting thing is a while ago, I don't know what season it was, probably season 6 or 5 or 7 or whatever, we talked about, and Tom specifically talked about the fact, he's like, listen, I think, people are going to start moving. They're not going to be able to keep standing this cycle of crazy weather. And the article talks about Muncie, Indiana, and a lady that used to live in like North Miami Beach, right? Beautiful, gorgeous.
Yeah, why would you move from North Miami Beach to Muncie, Indiana?
And she was like, my homeowner's insurance was going up to $3,000 a month. A month.
Yeah.
And she was like,
that's a mortgage payment.
Yeah. For most people, it's probably like double or triple maybe sometimes. Yeah. And so like, she's like, I moved to Muncie because she could work remotely. And she's like, is Muncie the most exciting place? No. But do I have to worry about a flood, a hurricane?
The cost of living is probably much more affordable.
It absolutely is. And she said, look, I'm an hour and a half from Indianapolis. I can go to a big city if I want to. I'm good.
You can fly places.
Oh, yeah.
You can visit. You don't need to live there. Like my buddy Greg, who lives in Tampa, he has a place just north of Tampa, got like 3 feet of water in his house, all over the main floor.
And and he's got a boat?
His boat floated down the street, and one of his neighbors saved his boat. And by the way, his boat was put away on the stacks above the water, like 5-6 feet above the water, and the water came in so high that it lifted the boat above and broke its mooring, and it floated away.
That's
how
unbelievable.
It's like a human body higher than the water, and that's how high the storm surge was.
So my cousin is building a house in North Carolina, and one of the first things he did was he put a dock in, and they told him, put it at 107 feet is what we used to recommend. Put it at 110. That's never gone that high. It went up to 114.
Yeah, I would do.
Yeah. I mean, 4 feet over, like you said, a human body over of what everybody even expected it to be. It's crazy. And I don't know if you've seen these videos.
This top one, because this is one. Now, this is Unicorn County, Tennessee. Now, what happened was the Hurricane Helene hit basically the crook of Florida, the part where it turns into the panhandle, from the panhandle into the thumb, so to speak.
Yeah, right around Tallahassee, right?
Right, and it came in hard right there, and then it went north up through Georgia, up into Tennessee, over into North Carolina, and headed out to the Atlantic Ocean. But usually what happens is we focus when the storm hits the land in Florida or Louisiana or Texas, wherever the storm hits, and then we sort of forget about it because it usually just turns into a rainstorm. But this hurricane stayed formed and kept spinning even over Tennessee, even over North Carolina. It kept turning like a hurricane the whole time.
Insane. Like 17, 18 inches of rain.
So this was in Tennessee, which is, you wouldn't think that in Tennessee when you have a hurricane that your town is going to be devastated. But this one is unfreaking real.
There's like an entire,
None of this rock was here before.
And there's like 5 feet of it.
4 or 5 feet deep.
Think about that.
Because this is a road. And it's, 5 feet deep.
Wow.
Like what you can't see. It goes on for miles. Just 5 feet of like nothing but rock.
If anybody saw in like the news when they were reporting all this, this is the town where the hospital had like 50 people on the roof.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Same town. I mean, everything's buried.
There.
There have been small towns along like roads and rivers that have completely been wiped away.
Well, look at this one, Lynn.
This
is like a neighborhood.
Freaked me out.
This is like a normal neighborhood, and this is a mudslide coming down.
It's the river. You want to talk about? This is what a flash flood is.
Oh,
there's a flash flood for you.
It took his car out. There goes his car.
But thank God it didn't take him out.
My car's gone.
I'm okay. It's okay.
The everything's gone. It's all gone.
It's okay.
You hear like how calm the wife is. He's like, my car's gone. My car just got wiped out. She's like, it's okay. We're alive.
She seemed pretty stressed.
Dude, like I guarantee you that
John,
wasn't...
play that. That is crazy. Can you
Dude,
go back
this
to that
is
one?
a crazy...
This one?
I just want just the first part of it. Like,
it's
this is
insane.
like a flat. This is what a flash flood is. I was like, holy.
Yeah, they live on like a hill, and it just turned into a rushing river.
That's why people get caught up in it.
Oh, dude,
that's how
why
fast
you,
it happens.
That's why you get killed.
Think about if you're walking
Dude,
across the
you would
front
be
yard.
annihilated by that wall of mud and rock and water. You would get killed. You would be buried in it.
Unbelievable.
So, hey, Randy, we'll be out 2 seconds. Yeah, I'll come and get you in there. All right, our guest is here.
Yes.
Oh, exciting.
He's here, man.
Yeah. All right, so this one right here, we'll, hey, Linz, could you go out and tell him we'll be out in just a couple of seconds? You mind?
Let Madeline.
Huh?
I got Madeline.
Oh, we'll have Madeline do it. Never mind, babe. Thanks. This one is, hey, babe, Madeline will do it. This is one that John's showing is a lady stuck in a semi. The semi stuck in a rushing river, and basically, I don't know what happened to this lady. Her semi.
Oh my God!
Look at that! It's completely flooded out.
Yeah, so I clicked the comments on this just to see what happened because when you watch this, it's like they're gonna die. I have no idea how they were saved. They were saved.
They were.
Yeah, they were saved. John.
But like, what do? You're gonna end up swimming.
I'm not going.
You better be a good swimmer.
Yeah, or get on the roof
because that's a moving river. Like, I think I would be all right in a situation like that.
I would be extremely concerned if I would make it.
Dude, man, it's so scary. Like, these people are in Tennessee and North Carolina and a hurricane happened, guys. That's what I'm trying to impress upon everybody is, like, if they tell you to leave, you can't mess around anymore, man. You can't.
Yeah.
Like, there's hundreds of people that died in this. Look at that. That house John just showed. Could you go back to the before, John?
Yeah,
the before is like, it's just like a calm
peaceful.
A calm little creek. And he with a car parked. The next clip is a rushing, torrential, mud-filled river and no cars. Everything was destroyed.
And the force of this is just, to me, what is so amazing. Like, when you see the rocks that were dragged from the riverbed onto, like, 5 feet of it, like, for hundreds of feet.
Dude.
And the roads that were taken
Look at
out.
this one. This is like the before. This is what they have, like a beautiful farm with
which is like, oh, it's raining pretty
probably
hard.
Probably a lot of horses. It's like, oh, how beautiful. It's just raining a little bit.
Pretty hard.
Right. Yeah,
windy.
raining hard, but like everything's calm. You got like and now it's like
3 hours later.
Oh,
all their animals are dead, by the way, because they had animals that they had put away. They didn't think.
Look at that.
Yeah, dude. Like all their animals died. I read this one. They had a bunch of horses and cows and everything dead. All of them drowned.
The livestock, the death of livestock has got to be in the tens of thousands, I bet.
Oh my God, yeah, for sure. Like how, like a dog or anything, dogs in a pen,
cows,
dead.
pigs,
hundreds
horses.
of thousands. Cows go for a lot of money. Good steer.
Yeah.
I saw a video where like there were caskets floating down the river.
So basically, between what's going on, this is a sales point for Indiana. Between what's going on in California, Texas, Arizona with
Florida.
the water and the flood in the fires, and then you're in Florida and you're in Texas and you're in Louisiana, you're like, I just don't like it, the East Coast. Shit, North Carolina.
Yeah,
Tennessee.
This is Blue Ridge
Tennessee.
Mountains.
You're in the freaking inland.
Yeah,
like
this isn't
the
coast.
Is, so like I said this to my residents when we had our city flooded a year ago, and it was very minor compared to what we're talking about now. Very minor, but still traumatic for the people that lost all their property. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the future right now.
Well, you said it's a new normal.
This is the
what
future.
You told people.
This is like storms that we can't handle, fires that we can't handle. This is water shortages. This is America's future, and we need to, instead of worried about the bullshit we worry about, we need to start worrying about the real things, which is going on right now, and with our infrastructure, which is not equipped to handle new climate.
And insurance industry may not be equipped to handle it either.
My buddy Greg, like, I'm sure it was uninsured. He's tearing everything out of his bottom floor, and he's doing it on his own. And thank God that he has the means to be able to do it on his own. But there's people, that's their real house.
Exactly.
And they're like,
they've lived there their whole lives.
What do you do?
Their
This is
mortgage
my house,
off.
and it's completely destroyed, and there's no insurance market anymore.
They have a choice to pay $3,000 a month or move.
Hello, Muncie, Indiana, right?
Yeah. So it's really interesting.
All right, let me start off the ads, and then I'll go out and I'll get our guest. We're going to come back with Randy Niemeyer, who's running for U.S. Congress. He's the Republican nominee in the 1st Congressional District. I'll start off with Ku Klux Law. Are you facing legal challenges and don't know what to do? Who are you going to call? Ku Klux Law. That's you. Your trusted source for legal advice in Indiana and Illinois. Do you need help buying or selling real estate? Call Ku Klux Law. Are you forming a new business? Call Ku Klux Law. Are you injured in a car crash or at work? Call Ku Klux Law. No matter what your legal issue is, call 219-671-6347. That's 219-671-6347 to schedule your free consultation. Who are you going to call? Ku Klux Law. That's who. Vamos Espanol.
When you want the best for your home and family, trust the best in the business, Rogers Roofing. Rogers Roofing has transformed home in Northwest Indiana and Chicagoland for more than 55 years, providing quality roofing, siding, gutters, and windows, all backed by the best warranties in the industry. To learn more and to schedule your free consultation, visit rogersroofing.com or call 219-933-9145 today. That's rogersroofing.com or 933-9145. And remember, at Rogers Roofing, excellence is expected every time.
MCR Partners is your one-stop destination for top-notch expertise in economic development, finance, and planning with a dedicated team geared up to tackle your projects head-on. They're your go-to comprehensive solution providers. Dive into the world of economic development with MCR Partners and let them guide you through the maze of opportunities. For more information, check out their website at mcrpartnersllc.com, or for tailored assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to Matt Reardon, just like I did yesterday, at 219-741-9511. That's the number I called. He answered, and he answered my question.
Wow.
Yes. It was an economic development question,
number.
and he answered it.
All right, elevate your brand with Misprint, the premier printing and sign solution in Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. A 30-year legacy of excellence, their experienced team, led by Rick Balzenberger, combines innovation and technology to deliver top-quality signs and printing, always on time and within budget. Conveniently located in Munster and Hammond, Misprint is your partner for creating impactful visual solutions. Visit them at Misprint USA to bring your vision to life today.
Frankie V's. No need to dress up. It's a casual place. Bring the whole family. We have plenty of space. A hidden gem in Hammond. You don't have to drive far. Delicious food, great service, and yes, a full bar. Try our homemade pizza chips, Italian beef, sausage, marinara, and more. We have delicious pizza, pasta, and Italian foods galore. Don't go where they don't remember you. It's just not the same. Come to Frankie V's, where everybody really knows your name. Visit us today at thefrankiev's.com for daily special, full menu, and hours.
Good work, Dad.
Oh, man. I didn't want to hear it, Lindsay.
It doesn't come very often, Lindsay giving her dad a compliment. But ladies and gentlemen, in the studio, I'd like to introduce to you the nominee, the Republican nominee for the 1st Congressional District. He's also a Lake County Councilman, and he happens to be the Republican chairman of the Lake County Republican Party. Welcome to the studio, Randy Niemeyer. Good to see you, sir.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Kevin.
Good morning,
Pull that
Randy.
up to you,
Good
bud.
to see you.
Appreciate
it. I'm so used to calling you Mr.
thanks.
Chairman when I see you, so good morning.
Yeah, don't call me that today.
All right,
Yeah,
we'll call
right.
you.
It's good to see you, Randy.
Those are bad names sometimes.
I hear you, man. I did it
It's
for
good
5
to see
years.
you, too, and great haircut.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
thanks.
I like going the short
Yeah, you
route.
bet.
Welcome to Lockpot. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me, and if I can, just a minute.
Of course.
How this whole thing started was I ran into Tom at the Juneteenth celebration
Yes, remember
in Hammond, and we had a good conversation, and you know, this is not something that normally Republicans might do, but I'm a big believer that if we're going to really serve the community, we got to do things that are a little unconventional at times. So
I'll be honest,
that's
Randy.
why
I
came
think
here.
it's refreshing. But it's like when Pete Buttigieg in our party goes on Fox News. I find it refreshing that like Pete Buttigieg as Secretary of Transportation represents many Republicans just like Democrats. And why wouldn't you go to the media that talks to a different party? I think it's smart.
Yeah, and I mean, you see J.D. Vance doing the same thing. He doesn't shy away from those interviews. I think it's just important for us to reach all the audiences because too many times right now in politics we're talking at each other rather than with each other, and we don't have to agree on everything.
That's right.
But we all live in this place, and we have to figure out how to make this work.
Yeah, I was just saying earlier in the show, I was like, we're so used to whatever social media feeds us and our algorithms, and we're so used to kind of living in our own silos, right? I mean, like, as a Democrat, like, I get fed whatever, my TikTok feeds me, right? And probably same for you. So to me, it's an opportunity, I think, for us to hear what, somebody who we probably don't agree on everything, but I'd love to hear your perspective on stuff, right?
And my TikTok feeds me guys playing the guitar and singing country music.
Nice.
Man, not bad.
Who's your favorite artist?
I'd have to say Ronnie Millsap.
Really?
Old
Ooh.
1980s
see,
guy. That was my
It's good to have another old guy in the studio, right?
that was my first concert I saw at the Star.
Really?
1982.
I love
Ronnie
it.
Millsap was the Entertainer of the Year that year, and I've
for you,
loved
man.
him ever since.
We just got shot down by 2 country artists for the Festival of the Lakes. Big ones, too.
We're working on them,
We
though.
made an offer on Tim McGraw. I could talk about the
Yeah.
ones we missed. He shot us down, unfortunately, and then we
I
just
love
got
that man so much.
we just got done with Eric Church. Made an offer on him. We got shot down too. But we're like taking big swings. You know.
Yeah, the Festival of Lakes is awesome,
Thanks,
by the
Randy.
way. But what a great showcase for Northwest Indiana. And Wolf Lake there, just I
Thanks,
mean, it's
bud.
just a beautiful setting.
You're
so
sweet.
job well done.
Thanks, I appreciate
Yeah.
it. And
Ran-
you know John Vesmar, by the way, Randy.
We have
Hey,
not
John.
met before. Randy,
John
nice
was-
to meet you.
John's a supporter.
Pleasure, thank you.
And was a big advocate for getting you on the show. He sees
Oh.
the world similarly to you. You know?
Well, we'll see. We got some tough questions.
Well, I mean, listen, there's no one right formula, right? I mean, that's the beauty of this country. So
Yeah, there is. It's the conservative.
Oh,
formula.
look at
God.
this.
That's the
there
right
goes John.
formula.
See,
Randy's
the good
like-
thing for Randy is John's going to be chirping, so we're going to be. You're gonna
I'm
be all right
excited.
here.
I just have someone
You know-
like-minded in here.
Randy, you know what my goal is when this is done? My goal is for your fellow Republican candidates to say, I could go on Lockpod. They're not going to be dicks to me. That's my goal. Okay? And like,
Randy's
'cause-
a pretty tough guy. I've seen him. He
no, but
can-
like if we were taking cheap shots at Randy, during this, then why would any of Randy's fellow Republicans ever want to appear on Lockpod?
Yeah, I think it's a much different. There's a big difference between cheap shots and fair questions, right?
True.
And I think that's part of it. So like, I guess I would love to know just kind of your campaign, right? I was looking back like maybe 2 years ago when Jennifer Ruth Green ran, and I guess in my mind I was thinking like there was a lot more buzz, right? Now maybe I live up in North County,
But that's also an off year too.
Sure,
Kev.
it's an off
like,
year,
there's,
right.
There's buzz because it's a presidential year this year.
absolutely, and that's
Right.
what I was going to get on to Randy. So like, number one, like how's the campaign going? And as you ramp up over the next, what do we have, 40 days? Maybe not
less
even
than that. We're in the
Okay.
30s.
We're in
now.
the 30s.
My
okay.
campaign manager out there knows the exact amount of days. I just focus on each one as it comes.
There you go, smart.
Yeah.
So that, and also just kind of from your perspective, did your campaign strategy change?
You're asking multiple questions.
I'm
as
sorry.
well. Yeah.
Did your campaign strategy change
He's
when
a lawyer.
President Biden got out and
Right. That was the
Vice
whole-
President Harris came in?
My strategy really hasn't changed. We've been kind of pushing the same message.
Well, you were bumming
The
though.
entire
When-
time.
When Biden stepped down, you were bumming, right?
I don't know if I was bumming.
Come on.
No,
Come on. Like if I was, and
no,
I'm not.
I expected it, Tom. Honestly, I expected that
Did
to
you?
happen. Yeah, after that
Debate. It was
performance, it was just awful.
Well, we were all just like, I mean, as a Democrat, I was like, you got to get out. We were both like, we got to get out.
I was
I
on
mean,
Lockpod, Randy,
yeah.
like urging him to step down way before it was cool. I was like, even before that debate, I was like, this guy is going to get beat. People like Randy are going to win. No, because Joe Biden's going to pull everybody down. Like I was sounding the alarm bells way before that debate, and then that debate proved me sort of right. I'll be honest.
It was rough.
Yeah, it was hard to watch. I mean, as someone who has consumed this type of material my whole life, watching a presidential debate like that,
Brutal.
that was just brutal
It was
to watch.
rough.
It was terrible.
It makes me
rough.
worry about the next 5 months, the next 4 months. Like, holy
We'll get
shit.
through it.
I
We'll get
know.
through it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had that sort of feeling of unease watching any presidential debate until that one. That was just
Well,
awful.
it just showed us that I think it was good probably for his supporters to see that, like his close circle, right? Because they had to say, Mr. President, it's time. You got to move on.
I
So-
think after that, like people like Frank Mervan, people like that are hanging out there, are like, dude, like
Well, I think
this
that's part
guy's
of it.
gonna take me down,
I
right?
think that's part of it, right? I'm
Hell
sure.
yeah, like the
Democrats are worried
senators,
about Congress,
the
right?
senators in a close district, the congressmen in close districts are like, this guy is gonna take all of us down because your job is, if you're Frank Mervan and that's the president, your job is to help sell the president, right? And who wants to do that when he just turns in a dud like that?
It was bad.
You got to go out there and like defend a guy? Come on.
So, Randy, I think you were saying that your strategy really hasn't changed since.
No, we've been doing
Vice
the same
President
thing.
Harris is the nominee.
We've had a very consistent campaign. I've been critical of President Biden. I've been critical of the vice president. No difference, really. I mean, the two of them have worked together for up to 4 years, and when we go out door to door and we talk to people, the common refrain is cost of living, economy, right? People have seen that, and it knows no party in that respect. So none of that's really changed for us.
And you got, like you said, you're in the 30s. You got 30 some days left. Now, obviously, as a Republican, I assume you're supporting former President Trump, right, as the nominee
And as the chairman.
So how do you, like, just looking at the numbers, right? Because I mean, Tom's ran this race, right, in 2020 in the primary, so we're kind of familiar with the district. Round numbers, you're like about 70% of the votes Lake County, say 25 is Porter County, 5% LaPorte, about right. And it's the Michigan State
Somewhere
part
in
of it.
there, yeah.
Somewhere in there, right?
Yeah,
General.
good thumb rule.
So without, at least if you look traditionally over the last, let's say, 2 or 3 elections in Lake County. It's in a presidential year, it's about 20, 30,000 vote plurality for the Democrat, even with President Trump running. In a non-year, in an off year, it's 15,000. How do you, as a Republican, how do you think you can turn that, or how do you make that up? Because it seems like Porter County and LaPorte the numbers aren't there to make that big of a difference.
Yeah, so what I tell people when I go to doors, I mean, we focus our door knocking on a lot of those swing voters, those persuadables. And they say, well, you know what, I don't like Donald Trump. I said, well, it's your lucky day. I'm not him, and I'm running for U.S. Congress and not president. I think the thing is that I focus on is results, right? The first 3 years of President Trump's presidency, the results were pretty good. Trump, the president, was a pretty decent president. Trump, the media persona, sometimes turns people off. But I like to just focus on what we're doing here in Northwest Indiana. A lot of the funny thing about Trump, he's kind of an anomaly. The far right really likes him. The moderate right can take him or leave him. The center can take him or leave him. Some of the moderate left, blue-collar people, they really like him. So it's an interesting blend that doesn't really make any sense from a demographic standpoint. So what I always just try to message is, hey, I'm looking at results, looking at those first 3 years pre-pandemic and saying, you know what, as a small business owner, those were good years for me. The last 2 years have been the worst I've ever had in my career in business.
How do you separate yourself, though, from the people? I mean, again, like just looking at the numbers in Lake County, how do you convince people and separate yourself from Donald Trump? That people out there that are just like, I'll never vote for Donald Trump. So how do you say, well, look at me, especially like when you have the president, and I'm not trying to get you to, feed into any opinion on this or whatever, but when I'm watching the last debate and the president's talking about Springfield, Ohio, and people eating dogs and cats and all that, and whether it's debunked or otherwise, it just kind of maybe rings with some people that are voters, let's say in Lake County, like, man, that guy's out to lunch. I can't vote for him. And then how would you approach a voter like that says, I am totally no way, I am turned off by Donald Trump, and how do you say to him, consider Randy Niemeyer?
Well, if Donald Trump is the subject matter, right? I mean, I always say in the Article 2 of the Constitution, it doesn't say that he's got to be your counselor, your pastor, or your friend, right? It's about getting the job done, getting results. And what I saw, like, again, in those first 3 years was results. You don't have to like him, but I encourage people, please come and vote. Even if you don't vote for the top of the ticket, having a functional and good Congress is the most important thing. I mean, Congress is the only body right now that has a 10% approval and 90% retention.
Right.
You don't see that in
crazy?
any other. Yeah, you don't see that in any other business. So it's important for the people to understand that even if you don't like the top of the ticket, whether it's Harris or Trump, you have a responsibility for people like Tom, who served our country, to come out and vote. So those are things that we just try to espouse, those values, is that elect your members of Congress, elect your state representatives, elect your county officials. Don't just sit at home.
So your path to victory then is, focus on Porter and LaPorte County. Obviously, I think it's more open-minded out there as far as parties concerned, right? I know that I did really well in Porter and LaPorte County when I ran. I know, and I'm more conservative Democrat, right? And then if I was your campaign manager, I think I would probably focus on Porter and LaPorte County, even though Kevin points out that's only 30% of the vote. And I'd probably really focus on south of 30 in Lake County. And I imagine you feel real confident down there. You've been a county councilman for a long time. You also came from that part of town. So, like, if you have a real good vote total south of 30 and you do well enough in Porter County and Lake County, you see a path to 51, I imagine, right?
Yeah, there's a path. I mean, we've seen, I'm sure you've studied the statistics having run for the office. Each election cycle, it keeps kind of closing that gap. And,
could I ask you a question? Why?
Yeah.
Is it because of Frank, or is it because of?
No, I think
is it because of the voters?
Yeah, it's just the voters shifting.
That's a good question though, because
yeah.
like Visclosky never had these problems.
Right.
Yeah, and that's pre-Trump.
That is pre-Trump.
Yeah, pretty
much. I think when Visclosky was the
last time he
congressman,
ran.
we weren't like, he wasn't on the list that we have to like worry about. Like, we get these emails from the party. It's like, oh my God, let's worry about Frank. Frank's got a real opponent. He's raising money, all this stuff, right? But like when Pete was in there for 3 decades, I don't remember getting one of those emails. You know what I'm saying? So is it the congressman that is the problem, or is it the voters that are shifting?
Yeah, I think it's just the voters shifting. Honestly, it's
Interesting.
The suburban areas here of this county, Porter County are growing. They're exploding. And some of the urban areas are shrinking.
Well,
I mean, it's
you've
just
seen
a shift.
your hometown of Cedar Lake.
Yeah.
I mean, think about what Cedar Lake was like 20 years ago.
Right.
To what
I was
it is
there.
now. Yeah, right?
I tell people when I used to wear the Cedar Lake Little League uniform, we used to get jeered everywhere we went, right? Because people thought of Cedar Lake pretty negatively, and now it's a really desirable place for people to be.
How big is Cedar Lake now?
About 17,000 people.
And how much was it, let's say, 1990 or 1995?
About 6,500.
Wow,
So it's like
tripled.
almost tripled.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I
huh?
remember it
Is
as like a little old sleepy town.
Is it a pain in the ass to get around now? Because that's what
At
I've
times.
noticed when I go down south.
At times, yeah.
Dude, man, I go down south and it's like the traffic jams are brutal.
The
because-
infrastructure's not there.
Yeah, right.
It's
like in
single
Hammond,
lane.
I got infrastructure for 81,000 people,
Yep.
and then I go to Cedar Lake, I'll do or Lowell or whatever, and it seems like the roads can't handle the traffic.
Yeah, the hard thing, and serving in local government is, do you build for something that hasn't happened yet,
Right.
or do you wait for it to happen then
Interesting
build?
question,
Yeah.
Randy.
Right.
If you wait for something to happen, you just get a lot more complaints.
Well,
so.
we were just talking
Right.
right before you came in the studio about what's going on with the floods and our sewer systems that are incapable of handling these new storms, and that goes right to do we build to accommodate these new storms, or do we stick with the antiquated sewage systems we built over the last 50 years?
And then who pays for it, right? That's always the question and that kind of stuff.
Well, in
local
in
government's
Tennessee and North Carolina, it's going to be FEMA. It comes in and saves the day, I imagine.
Hey, Mayor, before we get into some national issues, I know you had a local issue you wanted to talk to Randy about and just see where he was at on that.
Oh, thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, because I don't want to
know,
let's talk about Ukraine real quick.
I feel like
before
a
you get to talk about-
I feel like a Republican sometimes, Randy. Like, I think, honestly, I grew up in a Republican house. My dad was Republican. Those are definitely, I am
Yeah, what the hell happened, Tom?
I know, right? I'm the black sheep, obviously. Honestly.
California, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I grew up with my mom in California, so I got those roots
that's
too.
what it was.
That's right.
Oh,
but,
man.
this convention center, and it's a big deal right now with the commissioners, okay? And I know you're a county councilman, but you also have an important vote in this as far as, if I remember correctly, they have to double the innkeeper's tax to make this work. So the question I'm asking is, everybody keeps talking about how much money the state's going to give to Lake County. I mean, how much money is Lake County going to have to cough up? Like, are we going to have to bond $200 million for this? And I don't think people realize we have to appoint a whole new level of government to run this convention center. The Convention and Visitors Bureau times two. Basically, we're going to hire the Convention and Center Bureau, and there's going to be a whole level of bureaucracy. There's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars we have to bond. These are the things that nobody's talking about with the convention center right now. I didn't know your position as a county councilman, I think, is important right now.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, as a Republican, I love bureaucracy. It's one of my favorite things.
That's the part nobody's talking about, though, Randy.
No, I've looked at this stuff, and obviously the commissioners are going to choose the site, that kind of stuff. But the council, as you said, is the taxing authority. And I am not a big fan of issuing any sort of tax without there being a long-term sustainability to it. I don't think it's fair to put that burden on the innkeepers, people who pay that tax today, for, again, something that hasn't happened yet. If we're levying that tax to move money to another entity, I find that troubling unless we can find some sort of long-term benefit for all those people paying that tax. So there's a lot of information that's going to have to come in front of me before I support that. I don't support tax increases too easily. There has to be a clear purpose. It's not something I take very lightly. And
how much do you think this thing's going to cost, Randy?
Most of the time, these things are double of what they're projected.
I know, like when we built the casino in Hammond, and this, I think most of us would agree, this is going to be much larger than a casino. That casino was $400 million. So that's the thing that nobody's talking about is, how much money is Lake County going to be on the hook for, debt-wise, for this convention center? Not only is where is it going to go, how many hundreds of millions of dollars are we going to have to float in debt to make this happen? And who's going to be the lucky sucker that gets to run it, the whole layer of government we create to run it?
Yeah, and it's not fair to taxpayers to tell them, hey, you know what, this is a good deal for Lake County, and we're going to take your taxpayer dollars and leverage that without there being some kind of a benefit analysis to go with it. So to me, it's just right now it's way too early to tell. Okay. But I'm going to be a tough sell on this.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because you've got a Republican supermajority in the state house. This is kind of the scheme. I don't want to use that in the wrong way. This was the process that they set up to send it kind of back up to Lake County. And so in a way, it's kind of like you've got a Republican supermajority in Indianapolis sending it back up to Lake County to say, what are you going to do? And I think what you're saying is you're going to wait and see.
How many conference and convention centers do we have in the Chicago area? And many of them, especially when we go through an economic downturn, they sit empty. So we don't want to buy into a big boondoggle either. Everybody's got to do their homework.
Like if I was sitting in Kansas City and I had to go to a convention in Hammond, and I love Hammond, obviously, right? I'd be like, wait, I'll just stay in Chicago. Why am I going to Hammond?
I didn't think you were in the running at all, Tom.
We're not.
You never know.
I don't want to get Hammond into the boondoggle, as you described it. So,
I know we're on. Go ahead, Mayor.
No, Donald Trump has been targeted 2 times, unfortunately. Nobody wants to see this kind of stuff, especially elected officials like ourselves. I don't want to see people shooting at elected officials for my own selfish reasons, too. Obviously, it's a horrible disgrace what's going on with the former president. He's been targeted 2 times by AR assault weapons, and he still supports those AR weapons, and he still strongly supports the Second Amendment. What's your feeling on that issue? And I probably know the answer.
I support the Second Amendment.
But, obviously there's a problem when we have the president getting targeted twice, the former president, right?
Do you support any limitations on, like, let's say, like an AR-15? Do those belong?
I think the problem comes in, Kevin, and you can probably say as an attorney that whenever there are incidents that happen and they're tragic,
yep,
right, the first reaction is to make more laws for the law-abiding citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that I think a lot of folks that are gun owners and fervent supporters of the Second Amendment, like myself, we say, you know what, why are you punishing me for something that this person did?
Yeah, and just so, like, I'm a gun owner, Tom's a gun owner. I don't have any problem with somebody saying, like, we had an assault weapons ban for a long time. It seemed to work. I guess, in my mind, I think there still can be, I think you can support the Second Amendment from my perspective and still say there has to be some limitations. And I get the other side of it. People say, well, if you start down that road, the next thing you know,
right,
all your guns are going to be gone. And personally, I don't think that's going to happen because I think Congress wouldn't let it. But I just want to know kind of where you're at on that.
Yeah, I think what you're saying these are good conversations to have, right?
Yeah.
But I still stand on the other side of that the Second Amendment's pretty clear.
You think it's absolute? And
yeah, I look at it as it's written, as a pretty clear.
Yeah.
As it's written, honestly, as it's written, I think it talks more about militias. I think
that's why it's a fun discussion, right?
I think that when you read it, I read it as like a freestanding militia is very important. That's the way I read it. But anyway.
So another kind of big national issue that I'm sure you're having to deal with right now is abortion. And Indiana has taken a pretty conservative approach to it. They passed a pretty near total ban. That there are a ton of people on the other side of that issue that say, it's a women's right to choose. They should never touch Roe v. Wade. As congressman, would you be in favor of a national abortion ban?
No, I don't think it's Congress's place based on the Dobbs decision to legislate it at this point. I think a ban or a codification of Roe v. Wade, both of them would face stiff constitutional tests. So I would not be in favor of a federal ban.
And you're in favor of leaving it up to the states and having kind of patchwork around the country, whatever, depending where state you are, that's where it's legal.
Yeah, and I think we've seen a vast array, right, of an approach to this in conservative states where they've
Kansas
had ballot referenda that you scratch your head and say, well, maybe this isn't as black and white as we think.
Mm-hmm.
What about exceptions for rape, incest, health
absolutely,
of the mother?
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was in the Navy, primarily we chased Russian submarines. We chased Russian ships. That we were underneath them, and we would tape record them. That's what we did. They call them sound cuts. We would do sound cuts, and then we download it to what is now known as the internet, and it would be shared amongst all the submarines and all the ships in the Navy. 99.9% of the time, we were chasing Russian subs because they were our mortal enemy, and they wanted to kill us, and we wanted to kill them. I imagine it's still similar in the Navy. I know that there's Chinese subs and things of that nature, but I think Russia is still primarily our foe in the Navy. And yet I hear a lot of people in the Republican Party talking about Putin as an ally and as a friend of the former president. I just wonder where you stand on it. Because, I really strongly feel that America has done a good thing in defending Ukraine. And I feel like my wife's a Polish immigrant, and I could tell you with certainty that my wife's family is concerned about who's going to win this presidency because they fear for the country, the future of Poland. So I wonder where you stood on that Ukraine issue.
Putin is not our friend.
Thank you.
He's an old KGB agent, and growing up in the 80s like I did, it seemed like every other movie was about the KGB and the Soviet Union, and we had a clear enemy. And not that the Russian people are our enemies, but I think that their leader right now is leading them down the wrong path.
Agree.
What do you think about funding Ukraine and using, in other words,
Because you, as a congressman, that's a very important
big deal,
Yeah,
big deal, and just the fact that we don't have boots on the ground there, which I think is a good thing, right? We don't want
Agree
to
with
put
you,
our guys
Kevin.
in harm's way, yet we're funding it. We're helping fund it significantly. Would you, as congressman, if you were elected, Randy, would you support continued funding to Ukraine?
I think any funding that you do in government has to have a clear purpose and a clear end to it.
Do you think that does?
I don't think it does right now. It's kind of an open-ended question.
Whose fault is that? It's Vladimir Putin's fault. I mean, he's the one who initiated this whole thing. I mean, if he walked away from Ukraine right now, I think that we could stop sending money there. But he's in the
I would love to
if
see that
Mexico
war end.
invaded. If Mexico invaded America, and we were getting assistance from France, I imagine
Maybe the
the
French
war
people would be.
yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, I mean, I just worry that if Ukraine falls, we got a big problem in Europe.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they are the buffer there in Eastern Europe. And being someone that's in agriculture, they're the richest agricultural land in the
Yeah.
world.
The
bread
bread
basket,
basket.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
crazy amount of grain.
Incredible production there. And, the destruction there is horrific. The innocent lives lost. The young people that are fighting in it.
Yeah, so sad.
We've got to figure out how to not just fund it, but end it, get people to the table to negotiate an end to this thing and move forward.
Let me ask you a less serious question.
Sure.
If you don't mind. We're pounding on all the.
Sorry, we're trying to get it all.
Go ahead,
in.
Tom.
I know.
This could be a fun one.
When you're campaigning,
Yeah.
what's been the most pleasant experience you've had? Because it's always wonderful. There's wonderful little things that happen to you when you're campaigning that you're not expecting. And then, of course, I'm going to go to what surprised you the most. Okay. But what's the most wonderful thing?
I got to tell you,
Besides meeting Mayor McDermott and getting closer. So.
this is just truly a highlight, Tom.
Yeah.
I mean, I've met you a couple
Yes,
times,
sir.
but
Yes,
never
sir.
been this close to you because of your security detail. But
You're looking at
just me and
you're
John,
looking at it. You're looking at the security detail.
but there was one moment early on where a disabled vet wanted to make a donation to my campaign, and I think he had $7 in his wallet.
Wow. Oh, cool.
And we don't take cash, right? It's hard to
Smart.
process, but he wanted to buy in, and that gesture
Yeah.
really told me, wow, this is a pretty special thing that we're doing here, that people feel that passionately. So that's one of the moments that will probably stick with me the rest of my life.
That's cool,
right?
man.
Is when
Yeah.
people are willing to give you their last dollar because they believe in you. I feel like I have a duty to those people to do this really well.
Okay. On the other end of the thing, what surprised you the most? The negative of campaigning?
Well, I mean,
People mean to you?
I don't know if it surprises me because I've been
Really?
in local government for
I know.
16 years.
Yeah, that's true. You
And-
were a
Good
point.
town
and I'm
councilman.
used to
Right.
the pitchforks and torches.
Okay. So,
So-
you're ready for the negative part.
Yeah, I kind of laugh at some of that stuff because most of it or all of it in some cases is not true, or it
course.
lacks complete context,
Right.
as you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I was surprised by the negative. I've really been surprised by the positive.
Yeah.
I've met a lot of members of Congress,
Yeah.
right? And what you see on TV is the far left and the far right get all of the attention.
And
right?
the
All
loud,
fires-
mouths.
Right, all the fires are started, and media likes to sell that.
Mm-hmm.
But as I've met members of Congress in the Republican conference, I'm like, you know what? There's kind of a lot of normal people here. There's some
They really
folks who are
want the
just
best.
doing the work.
I mean, 435 of them, right? So
Yeah.
and they're just doing their jobs for their communities.
But all we ever see, whether it's on X or YouTube or on the news,
I got
is
kicked off of X.
did you?
We have a lot of fun with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, she's just she's one of the loudmouths, right? So media loves her because she makes news.
That's what people buy, right? Whether it's right wing, left wing media, or middle, they're all selling something.
Yep.
What's
And-
your relationship with Frank like? You guys talk?
I
You
mean,
guys
I
run
know
into
him
each other,
when we
right?
see each other, we shake hands, we're friendly.
Right.
It's not terse at any
Cool.
point. So
yeah, I
it's
guess
fine.
Tom and I have known Frank a long time. I've known him since high school. I know his wife Jane. They genuinely seem to me to be good people.
Yeah.
They care about their district. So I think Frank cares about the district, cares about the people he represents. What is kind of like your take on? Hey, this is why I'm better. I'd be better to represent you than Frank.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the things that we see and hear while we're out on the campaign trail. And the economic part of this, those spending bills in 21 and 22 just blew out the amount of cash. And I learned in high school economics, right, that too much money chasing too few goods creates inflation. I've seen the impact on people's lives. There's over 8 million people working 2 jobs. It costs anywhere between $10,000 and $15,000 a year more just to live the same lifestyle that you did 4 years ago. That's really a passion of mine, especially as a small business owner that signs the front of paychecks. We've had a really tough time, and I know small businesses like mine in trucking are going out of business every day. It's a terribly difficult situation right now, and I think that the government has acted very irresponsibly as it relates to the stewardship of the taxpayer dollars. And the immigration crisis is another one that, having a wide open southern border like this, it is crushing right now a lot of our government systems.
What do you think about this mass deportation idea of the president, former president?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a difficult haul to deport everybody at once. The reality of it is, with that many people, you have to process cases. You know, our laws in this country are important, including the asylum laws. And there are some people that are legitimate asylum seekers, and they need to be processed too. So,
do you think the former president 86 that bill that would have allowed for additional funding on the border, allowed for additional funding for judges for asylum seekers?
Well, I don't think he 86'd it. I think that thing was dead on arrival because it really doesn't cut off the. It's still 1.8 million people it allows under this current asylum system. It codifies the catch and release. So there was another bill, H.R. 2, that was a competing bill to that a year before that no Democrats voted for.
Right, didn't have the support.
Right, so the two of them together, maybe somewhere in the middle is where the solution lies.
Seemed like it had the bipartisan support until
Just
the president.
in the Senate, yeah.
Until the president kind of, well, whatever, right? He kind of, to me, he 86 did. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
We're done? You closed your iPad?
It's
All right.
8:45.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. We're done.
You're the one that always ends the show
I know.
like 10 minutes ago.
I had some
so.
I had some more questions, but
I did
this
too.
was
this
was good,
doesn't have to be the only time he ever has to come on.
That's true.
So
That's
like the goal when you walked in, Randy, was so that your fellow colleagues on the Republican side wouldn't be afraid to come on Lockpod. So I think that we did a good job bringing you on.
You survived.
Being professional. I think you did a good job.
I wasn't too worried about
didn't
it, guys.
think you would be.
I've known both
but
you guys for years.
I know that,
so.
but like
Yeah.
that's like we want to be like a normal show when we bring guests on and be generous basically, and be a good host.
And contrary to what people say, Republicans don't have horns or sharp teeth, right? We're
yeah,
just
I was
normal
waiting for him to
people.
pop out.
No, they're not there. I mean, I
Show's
trimmed-
not over yet.
I trimmed them before I came, so we're good.
Thank you very much for coming on the show, Councilman. I
Appreciate it.
appreciate you.
Thanks, Kevin.
I think
Good
you did a
seeing
great
you
job.
guys.
I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
John, what do you think?
I'm so glad he was on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really am. Yeah,
Thank you.
nice meeting you, Randy.
Yeah, I appreciate it, John. Thanks. I'm again glad that you guys had me on. This was really a fun time.
Good.
Appreciate you,
enjoyed
man.
these sorts
Good
of
luck with
opportunities.
everything. Keep working hard.
Thanks.
It's
Yeah.
a beautiful district that you're running in, and
I love it.
I know you know that. It's a beautiful,
4 generations of my family
Yes,
here,
sir.
man. We're lifelong.
and it's like that's the best part of running for office when you
Yep.
get to go around and meet all the people. And so I wish you
Yep.
the best. And and thanks, Kevin.
see what
Good
happens
job
on election
preparing.
day.
Yeah, and then Jay Vez, thank you. And Lindsay had to run out; she had an appointment, so thanks to Linz. And another episode of Lockpod is in the books. Thanks for listening. Season 9, episode whatever this is.
13.
13.
No, is it? No, wait. Episode 9.
Episode 9, and we're gonna be back on Tuesday with just
Friday.
next Friday. What day is today? Yeah, we're gonna be back on Friday with no guest, and then next Friday we have Drake Bowen's father, Jeremy, who's going to be on the show to talk a little Notre Dame football and some behind-the-scenes stuff. You know Jeremy?
Yeah, and Dylan Bowen, his younger
Yes.
brother,
Yeah.
goes to Hanover, where I went to school.
Nice.
All right.
And I've
he's
heard
already
he's
getting
getting-
recruited.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's a talented kid. It's
gonna be fun.
Good family, good
Yeah,
people.
Jeremy's
Yeah.
going to be our guest. He's a good guest.
Yeah, they're
right?
good people.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
we're looking forward to that show. Thanks again, Randy. It's
All right,
great.
thanks, Tom.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
thanks for listening to Lockpod. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you on Friday. Take care. Lockpod's out.